Good morning, all you wonderful YouTubers. Hey, thank you for coming back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, I am the Virginia Bushcrafter, and my channel is about learning and practicing the skills for bushcrafting, prepping, and survival. So, as we know, there is a tree trunk, and it is basically known as shelter, fire, water, food, and signaling. And today I am going to be concentrating on making a configuration that is known as a fold-over tarp shelter. And I am going to use a different kukri knife to help me construct this shelter. Now, we know that our shelter starts with the clothing that we have on. And our shelters provide us something to sleep in. It's going to provide us with something to sleep on and something to sleep under. Now, every shelter that you build, it will hold at least you and another person. So you're actually building a shelter for a group. So, with that said, again, I am going to be constructing a fold-over tarp shelter. And there are so many configurations with a tarp that it's almost endless. So it is always good to practice different configurations, and you'll find many of them that you will want to consider your favorite. So let's get started on putting up the fold-over shelter. All right, guys, I am going to start on the fold-over tarp shelter. So what I've done so far is I've hung the ridge line. As you can see, it is toggled on this tree. There is a prusik knot. Here's another prusik knot. And here is a trucker's hitch around this tree. And I have staked down the very first corner here, as well as the right corner here. So I'm going to pick up from there, and we're going to build us a fold-over tarp shelter. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go to the rear of the tarp and pull it over the ridge line. Okay, so I'm going to attach this very first prusik knot. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take Okay, let me show you what I've done. I've pulled up the second tie out and put a toggle in the tie out here and here. So the next thing to do is guide out this center portion to hoist this up. All right, guys, so I've taken a stick, put some paracord on it. I'm going to run it through the middle tie out. This will give me the awning. Put a toggle through here. And straighten the stick out. This is how it's looking so far. As you can see, there's a part of a tree up to this portion. And here is the stake down. So now I'm going to stake down this one and the other side, and we should almost be done. Okay, as you can see, I'm guiding this tie out and here I used a trucker's hitch. That's excessive cordage. And then the stake down right here. Secure that. And to the other side, the same thing. A toggle. And a stake down. And secure it. And this is called the fold over tarp. Now what I'm going to do to tighten it up, I got a stick and I put it in the back. And I'm going to pull the tie outs out to give me more space. All right, guys, the shelter is complete. So I'm going to go over it with you. But remember, again, shelter, it starts with the clothes on your back. Your clothes are your shelter. But if you are building a shelter, it is more than likely will accommodate you very well and one other person. So your shelter for more than just yourself is also the clothing for the group, for anyone else. That shelter would be considered the clothing. And again, the clothes that they have on is their shelter as well. So that is some of Morris Stohensky, Morris literature. But let me just go over the shelter with you. This shelter actually took 11 tent pegs. There's 5 in the front, on the front floor. That's 5. And there's 2 on this one on this corner, and one on this corner, for a total of 7. And here's a tie out here for the front. Here's another tie out for the center portion. And here's a tie out for the other side, which gives us 11. Gives us 10. And we have 1 in the back to pull out the back. So I'm very confident that if you were out in some adverse weather, you're going to be secured with the fold over tarp shelter. Again, one of the most important things is having adequate shelter. Now, the good thing about this shelter, I can easily lower this apron and have a A-frame shelter. Again, just by lowering this portion, I would have an A-frame with a floor. Or I could raise this end as well as the other end, this end over here, and I could have an extended fly tarp. That would really be good for rain and so forth, but here I will have a nice runoff for rainwater. But with this fold over, I have the best of the two. A partial flyover, partial A-frame. So I can make this shelter into 2 other types of shelter. So again, shelter is very important. You can never practice enough because there is just so many configurations for a tarp. So the next thing that's on our list is fire. And it's always good to practice fire. And today I am going to be using a Kukri knife, which is known as the Becker BK-21. This is a 13.5-inch blade. It's a saber grind, 3/16 inch spine, 1095 Cro-Van Steel. Great recurve for carving. But let's put it to work and see how well it does. I have used it before, but not to the extent that I am now. So again, that is the shelter. The next task is harvesting firewood. Fold over tarp shelter. All right, guys, here is the wood that I have harvested. So I'm going to be processing that wood again with the Reinhardt BK-21. Now, of course, would it be easier with a hatchet or an axe? Probably so, but again, this is where I come to practice and to learn. So to become more efficient with a different tool, it takes practice in the bush. So I'm going to put you guys in focus and I'm going to get started. All right, guys, so again, I'm going to start off with a, I guess a fair sized piece of wood. So let me put you in focus and we'll get started. Again, I like to use lanyards. Lanyards seem to give more secureness. So and this will be the firewood that I will use today. Again, about the kukri, you can just let it flip. Again, this is a saber grind, 20-degree angle. As you can see, the sweet spot is basically right in here. I'm going to get a larger piece. Slightly larger. It bites very well. Well, I think this shows that it chops very well. This is an indication that the splitting will be very easy. And just for good measures, I'm going to take one more piece to chop. Again, I'm just letting the heavy portion of the blade fly with speed. And of course, accuracy. Bites very well. Again, the front end does the work. Just letting it go. You don't have to put the wrist, just let it flip. That is the Becker BK-21. All right, guys, I'm going to do some splitting now, which I do not think would be much of a challenge for the Reinhardt Becker, the BK-21. I don't think it'll be any big, anything that's hard. But also to complement this kukri is the Becker BK-2. Great compliment. This would do just about everything that this will do. But today, this is the tool I choose to use. This is a backup. Okay, let's start splitting. Again, I do not think splitting will be a challenge whatsoever. Let me put you in focus. And just to show you as a backup, the Becker BK-2. which actually has a wider spine. A wider spine on the Becker BK2, 1/4 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch. Well guys, I guess you could say splitting is not a challenge for the Becker BK-21. So I'm going to do some more splitting rather than hold you on camera. Then we're going to do the finesse portion and the delicacy portion, which is making feather sticks and shaving with the Becker BK-21. Hey guys, I just wanted to bring you back for the last piece of wood that I'm going to chop with the Becker BK-21. I mean, the thing bites so well. Again, this is one of the advantages of a kukri style knife, and that is the forward weight. And with this saber grind, with a 28 degree angle, it sinks into the wood relatively well. But I'm just gonna chop this last piece. Let me put you in focus. Again, would it be easier to do this with a saw or a hatchet? Of course it would. But what would you do if you didn't have a saw or a hatchet? So a great cutting tool. Okay, we're going to make us some kindling. All right guys, time to make kindling. So let's put you in focus here, and again, with a fire we need ignition, tinder, kindling, fuel, and air. So quickly, let's try another piece of wood. Small curls. Let's try another portion. And let's try another method. One of the advantages of having a pommel. Fairly well. Put you in focus here. Alright guys, there's one other method of making curls that I want to try. So let me get set up for that, and we're going to make feather sticks in a different method. Hey guys, here's another method of making tinder. Is one of the advantages of a pommel is that I am able to insert it or stab it into a tree. This allows me to, let's put you in focus here. This allows me, by using this pommel, to insert the blade into a tree. And this is another way of making feather sticks. course, it is recommended to have something to catch your curls when they fall. So you can make feather sticks in this manner. But as you can see, with this method, and depending on your wood, you will need something to catch your shavings. But I just wanted to let you know this is another method that you can use and take advantage of using a pommel. Also, if you want to remove bark, this is one way of removing bark from a Alright guys, just wanted to show you this, but again, it's inserted into a tree by utilizing the pommel. Alright guys, I am now getting ready to make a fire again. I have put up a fold-over tarp shelter. I've harvested some wood, chopped some wood, split some wood, gathered kindling, and some tinder. So I'm going to go ahead now and make a tinder bundle. So let me put you in focus here. And this is just shavings. Let's see. Just breaking up the fibers. As you can see, the dust coming out. I think this should be sufficient to make a tinder bundle. And I'm going to be using flint and steel. So the first thing I will have to do is get a ember. Gonna need more leverage. You can see there is an ember. We do have fire. I'm gonna immediately start putting twigs on here. I think it went out, but did go out, so we'll try that again. Trying to find a sharper portion of the flint. You do see the ember there. I think we have it this time. We do have fire from the flint and steel. All right, guys, we do have a fire going. So I'm going to feed this fire for a while until we get some flames, and then we will be back. Well, as you can see, the fire is going well. I have used almost all of the kindling. Just waiting for coals. So guys, again, this is just all about practicing. This was started with steel, flint, and char cloth. Now again, this is just practice. Would it have been easier to use a ferrocerium rod? Of course it would have. Would it have been easier to use matches and lighters? Of course it would have. But to actually practice a skill when you get the opportunity to get some dry tinder off of a cedar tree, you take advantage of it, and that's what I did. This is bark, cedar bark, or tinder off of a cedar tree. So it's going now. So guys, the next thing to do is just wait and have a meal. Well, as it is a sunny day, you still can hear the wood that is drying out. You can still hear the popping and the crackling that indicates wet wood. But that is one reason for splitting the wood. Even though it's a very nice sunny day here, there has been rain and there's always moisture here. So that is the wet wood that is drying out. Again, guys, so this is just the practice of bushcrafting, prepping, and survival skills. Provide your shelter. You must have fire to boil water. You must have fire to cook, fire for warmth, fire for security, fire for serenity. So you definitely need fire. And of course, there's always water and food that is needed, as well as signaling. So when the food is put on, we'll take a look at it then. Well, the meal is in the pot, and the meal for today is teriyaki rice. Rice and pasta blended in a sweet teriyaki sauce. Alright guys, that is going to be my meal for today. Just waiting for it to fully cook. And then we will have our lunch and go from there. Well, the fire is going down, so that means it is time to eat. And I am just waiting on the food to cool off. Teriyaki rice. And the first taste, I know it's very hot. It is very hot. Guys, this is the fun part. I've done the shelter, I've done the fire, water, food, and of course, the signaling that you hope you don't ever have to use. But just out here today, I did get a chance to practice the taut line hitch knot. Again, the trucker's notch. I was able to start a fire with flint and steel. And even though the cedar bark was just a tad bit, I think, moisture, it did start. So I did get to practice with the flint and steel. There's always something to practice out here. So again, guys, this is if you really enjoy bushcrafting, I encourage you to just come out and practice. I did get to use the Becker B-21, a very large kukri knife. It chops very well. You can do feather sticks with it. I did some feather sticks with it, but when I get home, I'll just wash it off with liquid dish detergent, stand the edges up and put some oil on it, and it'll be ready for the next one. And I did use the smaller Becker BK-2 just to remove some limbs. Both of these are some great cutting tools made from 1095 Cro-Van Steel, a very hard steel. But so again, I really do like the kukris because of the forward weight. I have another one that I'm going to try next week, which is called the Condor King Kukri Machete, and it weighs a lot, so it should really have some good forward weight. But I think overall, of all my kukris, I think this is my favorite. The Becker BK-21. All right, guys, so I'm going to have my meal, and I'm going to see you afterwards. And as you can see, the fire is going out slowly. Well, guys, the meal was good. The fire is out. And the only thing for me to do now is just pack up and trek out. But this has been another enjoyable day, another experience. I really enjoyed chopping and splitting with the Becker BK-2. Made some feather sticks, but not as good as if I was using a Scandinavian grind knife. But nevertheless, it goes to show you that if you only have one tool, it's good to know how to do everything with that one tool. Chop, split, carving. You may use the knife for digging because you may have to source water. But I think the knife is one of the most important things. You know, you're going to build your shelter with that, clear paths with your knife. You know, there's a lot you will use the knife for. So it's always good to come out and practice using a compass coming out here. Even though I know where I'm going, just practicing with the compass. There's so many things that you can do in the bush that you can't do at home. So again, I encourage you, if you like bushcrafting or camping or just outdoor activities, the bush is the place to be. So with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pack up, and then I'm going to trek out. And again, main focus was the shelter. There's so many different shelters. I'm not sure what I will do next week, but again, that is called the fold over tarp shelter. You can make it out of a A-frame, or you can make it out of an extended flying tarp. But that configuration there, I think you get the best of both worlds. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and pack up, and I'm going to see you on my trek out. And again, fire's out. I would douse it with more water, cover it up with the dirt that came out, and trek out. Well guys, the day has been fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the fold over tarp shelter. I enjoyed using the Becker BK-21, chopping, splitting, and carving. I enjoyed making the fire with flint and steel. These are things that we just practice while we are in the bush. It was fun to cook again, and if this is your first time here, I welcome you back. This channel again is all about learning and preparing for bushcrafting, prepping, and survival skills in the wilderness. So with that said, guys, like father and son, mother and daughter, human and nature, we are all akin in some form or fashion. Get out in the bush and have some fun. This is the Virginia Bushcrafter signing off. Thank you.